Alright everyone, today I thought I would share with you guys 5 tips on progressing your account quicker in Raid Shadow Legends, and with that being said, let's just jump right to it and start off with tip number 1, and this is honestly going to be one of the biggest mistakes that I constantly see in Raid Shadow Legends. I see people making this mistake in chat, I see it all over the Reddit and the other social media sites, and that is going to be people are focusing too much on their actual champions and not their actual gear. Now, champions are of course important in Raid Shadow Legends, but gearing up and the entire gearing up process is going to be just as important, if not even more important. It doesn't matter if you have the absolute best champions in the game. If you don't gear them up properly, they are not going to perform well. And it works the other way around too. If you don't really have super great champions, you take a look at them and their skills don't really look that great. If you properly gear those champions and you gear them up correctly, they are going to perform a lot better than you actually think they would. So very importantly, make sure that you guys are gearing up your champions properly. You're equipping them with the right pieces of gear, optimizing your gear as best as you can, and just kind of, as you learn the gearing system a little bit more, you'll kind of understand what champions need and what different pieces of gear and gear bonuses are going to affect them differently. Every champion is going to be a little bit different in that department, so it is kind of important to just understand how the overall gearing process in Raid Shadow Legends works. I know I have plenty of videos on the channel talking specifically about gearing, and I have plans to make plenty more in the future because it is indeed quite a complex process when you break everything down, but very important, and don't underestimate the power of how gear actually is in Raid Shadow Legends. So that is going to be tip number 1. Now, tip number 2, this is another really big mistake that I see people making, and this is personally one of the really big mistakes that I made early on in Raid Shadow Legends that really set me back from progressing my account a lot quicker, and that is to not over-farm the normal and hard campaign. I know you might be newer to the game, you might be comfortable there, you might be doing normal runs of the 12th stage, or you might be doing hard runs of the 12th stage. It's really going to be easy for your team. You think to yourself, alright, this is fine, I'll just do all my farming here, and then I'll do a bunch of farming on normal or hard, and then I'll move on to brutal. Now, the main reason why you do not want to do this is even though normal and hard are indeed going to be easier and they are going to cost less energy, in terms of the amount of experience and silver per energy, it's going to be less efficient. So you're actually getting less resources out of your energy, out of every point of energy that you use in normal and hard in comparison to brutal. So that means that every energy that you spend farming normal and hard that you don't need to be, you could be getting more out of that energy if you are farming a more difficult stage. And this is just a general concept that's going to apply to a lot of different aspects of the game. The same thing happens with the clan boss, you know? If you can do a higher difficulty clan boss, you probably want to because your keys are valuable and you're going to get more resources out of using those keys on content that you can actually clear. So if you guys feel like you're ready to move up and you have the proper team, if you're comfortably farming normal and you're not ready to take the risk for hard, I would at least try it out, see what you can do, because you want to try to push up those difficulties when you can so that you get more return out of your resources. So that is going to be tip number 2. Alright, tip number 3. This is another really important one, probably going to be another one of the mistakes that I made that set me back a bit. A huge mistake that I see a lot of people making in the general chats and again all over different raid social media, and that is when you bring your champions to level 60, think to yourself before you do, what role is that champion going to fill in your team? What are they going to bring to the table besides maybe just a little bit of extra damage? It's really easy to get carried away and just start working on champions that you think are really cool, that look really cool, that maybe they have one skill that really looks awesome, but it just doesn't really apply to that many places in the game. So it's really important to kind of plan this out ahead a little bit. Think to yourself, go back through and take a look at the actual skills that a champion has. Maybe take a look at their aura and see what their aura is going to do. And think to yourself, what role is this champion going to fill in my team composition when I bring it to level 60? And just as an example, this was something that I really went through when I took High Katoon to level 60, because the game offers this champion to you through the login rewards for free. And I knew that this was a champion that I really wanted to bring to level 60 because there are so many different things on my little checklist of things that I was trying to accomplish in the game that I thought to myself, wow, well, if I bring this champion to level 60, she's going to end up filling a lot of those roles. For example, she has this all battle speed aura, and I did not have a champion that had any decent speed aura. So right away, that is a huge role that she's going to fill in a lot of my goals and tasks in Raid Shadow Legends, as she does have this pretty decent speed aura in all battles. Another thing too is she has this really awesome ability, fills the turn meter of all allies by 15% and places a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. This is the same ability that Apothecary has, and I knew that this was a major ability that I wanted to get into my team somehow. Now I was planning on getting Apothecary to level 60, another fantastic, amazing champion, but I knew that because this champion was going to fill several roles for me, including that speed aura and this ability, and also having somebody that I needed in the arena at the time, I knew because there were so many roles that this champion was going to fill, this is something that I wanted to bring to level 60, and I bumped it up on my list to do so. And this is something that you guys should kind of be planning a little bit with your champions. Very easy to get carried away and just start taking random champions to level 60, but if you plan it out a little bit and think to yourself, what is this champion going to do for my team, it's really going to help with your overall game progress and getting you through the different places in the game that you're wanting to get through. So that is going to end up being tip number 3. Alright, tip number 4. This is a really tough one, and this is one that I had a lot of trouble with, and I still honestly do, but this is going to be very important to those of you guys who are newer to the game, and it has to do with shards. Now, a lot of my videos where I talk about shards, I'm always saying save, 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 but a lot of this is really going to be applying more towards mid and late game players. Me personally, right now, I don't necessarily need to pull champions. You know, I have so much stuff that I could work on. There's a million champions that I am trying to get to level 60, and I just don't have enough time and energy to do so. So it's not like I am at a point in the game where I need to pull something, I need to get a certain epic or legendary. Sure, there are plenty of epics and legendaries that I would absolutely love to get, but there's a lot of stuff that I can end up working on in the meantime. If I really needed to, I could go back through a list of my epics, maybe some of my legendaries, and probably quite a few of my rares, and if I need a certain role to be filled in a certain dungeon or place in the game, I'm sure I could find a champion that could do so. So I don't need to pull champions from shards because of that. But when you are newer to the game, this isn't going to be true. If you're going to need somebody to place a certain debuff, or you're going to need somebody with the speed aura, or you're going to need somebody for this role, you might not necessarily have the champions to do so. And especially as a newer player, it might not be reasonable for you to save absolutely every single one of your shards for some sort of double rates event or something along those lines. So as a newer player, you have to think to yourself with tip number 4, when is it going to be strategic for me to pull shards? Is the benefit of waiting for an event to get the extra goodies from the event worth holding off on pulling those shards because I really need people for my teams? And I would say most of the time, those of you guys who've been playing the game probably for a month or longer, if you guys have any kind of decent pool of epics, I would say that it is absolutely going to be worth saving your shards for some sort of event. Whether it's a double rates event, a rate up event, a summon rush, a champion chase tournament, you want to wait for some sort of event because you want to get some extra value for your shards besides just actually summoning the champions. That's what those events are going to do. Now, to those of you guys who are really, really new to the game, if you really just don't have that many champions at all, I mean, you just don't even have many rares or any at all, and you are working with commons and uncommons, at that point, I would say that it's probably worth taking the risk and doing at least a few summons to see what you get to try to fill some of those roles, even though you might not get the resources by waiting for an event. Now, when I say that, again, it is strategic. There's no real right or wrong answer. As a newer player, you just kind of have to judge to yourself, is me pulling a couple of shards right now to try to get a few extra characters added to my team so that I can progress a little bit quicker and easier in the game? Is that going to be worth it over waiting and not pulling those shards until a certain event so that I can get some extra goodies? And again, it really is going to depend up to you. If you have a lot of ancient shards, though, and you are really, really new to the game, I would avoid pulling all of them. I would just kind of try to maybe get a couple champions to fill those really crucial roles. And then, of course, as I say in almost all the rest of my videos, I would wait. And if you already have somewhat of a pool of champions, I would almost always wait until there's at least some sort of event or bonus going on for you to end up summoning your shards. So I think tip number 4 is definitely going to be the most difficult one that I think everyone struggles with a little bit, especially when they are newer to the game, and it's something that you're going to have to decide a little bit on your own. It's going to be a little bit of a different answer for everyone depending on what point of the game they are actually at. Alright, and now we are moving on to tip number 5. This is a really important one, of course. I've just been throwing a whole bunch of tips at you. Don't be overwhelmed, guys. This is a game. The #1 goal in any game is to have fun. So if you guys feel like something on this list is just going to really diminish your gameplay experience and you are not going to have fun doing that, then I would say that it's not worth being absolutely, completely perfect in order to give up your satisfaction of enjoying the game. You know, do things for fun, set goals as well. This is another really big one for me. You know, everybody is playing, obviously, to get stronger and progress the game, end up getting to certain dungeons. You know, even I'm not at that point yet. I still haven't actually cleared the late game stages in the dungeons. I still have not finished my progress missions yet. I'm very, very close. I only have a few left. But as you guys can see, I've been playing the game for a long time, and setting goals is going to allow you to enjoy the game for a longer period of time while also kind of making it pretty clear to you what you want to accomplish. It's also going to overall make you have a lot more fun with the game. You know, little things, like one of my personal goals is I like to collect. So as you guys can see, I have a whole bunch of epics. They are ranked up and start up a little bit just because I was preparing it for Faction Wars, and also it helped me clear some of the events where I needed some extra points. Same with these Void rares. You'll see they're 4 stars. Definitely don't need to do that. It's really crazy to some people why I would ever do this, but again, I have my own little kind of goals and things that make me enjoy the game, and even though they might be different for other people, don't let anybody stop you. Do the things that you guys want to that'll make you enjoy the game and have fun. That is probably going to be, without a doubt, the most important thing out of everything that I have mentioned on this list. So with that being said, everyone, that is going to be 5 tips to help you progress quicker in Raid Shadow Legends. I'm really hoping that you guys enjoyed this video and it did help out, especially to those of you guys who are newer to the game. And if you guys did enjoy this video and it helped out, consider subscribing to the channel for more videos like this in the future. Really do appreciate all the support, everyone. We are at almost 18,000 subscribers, so thanks again. And of course, if you have a quick second and you want to help out, it really means a lot if you could toss a quick like on the video. Only takes about 1/4 of a second, so thank you to all of you guys who do that as well. That's going to be it. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day, and until next time, this is Salt of the Salty Guild, signing out.